had to switch it that way.
All right, y'all. This is the first episode of Dark Becomes Us, or Dark Becomes Her. And it's something I wanted readers to be able to talk to authors. Not all the readers are able to see the authors and go to all the cons and stuff. And so this is a way for them to kind of go at y'all and us. So thank y'all for being my
Oh no.
and be as
Of course.
weird as
Thank
you want.
you for having us.
Yes.
So y'all can just like attack him. I'm sorry.
I bite back.
We like that.
Splatter Chatter loves you. Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, The Bug Collector was the February's book club pick, and everybody throughout the board absolutely loved it. Yeah. I think it was,
Well, you've got a sick
correct me
board.
correct me if I'm wrong, Kylie, but I think the votes were pretty high for Bug
Oh yeah,
Collector
it
in
was
February.
skyrocketed, and that was definitely one of the grossest books I've read. So that's definitely a high, high up there.
Good.
So when did y'all
Yeah,
first discover Ratchet?
I wrote the Bell Collector as kind of a gift to my fans. So it was short and inexpensive to buy, so that if you were a longtime fan or if you had never read my work before, it was accessible to you. So you can get it pretty cheap and read it pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a quick read. I found my
Yeah.
trigger on that one. Definitely.
Definitely quick, but
Well, it's your
had
trigger.
a punch.
Just the description of like the diseases and them like having intercourse with the kid. It's like I
It
read
was
like 3 pages.
juicy.
I read like 3 pages and found him at St. Louis and was like, "You nasty motherfucker." But
You sure all of his stuff is pretty intense. So
Oh
what was your
yeah.
first Wrath book?
I'm
What was your first Wrath book?
mine,
Both of you.
Succulent Prey, and I've never looked back. I I will completely annoy everybody because I pushed that book on everybody. Like that was my first. I had it on my cart, I think, for about a year before I actually picked it up, and I'm like, what the hell was I waiting for? And then it's been like I'm now 11 books deep, and I'm like, well, I'm invested.
That was my first two because of Veronica. I think she's the one who gifted to me for my birthday or something like that. And that was my first Wrath book. And yeah.
I've definitely gifted that book to a lot of people. I'm like, read it right now.
Very nice. Yeah, when I wrote Succulent Prey, so Succulent Prey was the first novel I had published, but it was actually the third that I wrote. The first two kind of went in the trunk. And then when I came up with the idea for Succulent Prey, I said, yeah, this is gonna be the one. But it was never meant to be a mass market novel. It was meant to be a limited edition kind of short thing that only maybe a few hundred people would read. I was really surprised when Leisure Books picked it up and it wound up on bookshelves all across America. That was not what I had intended when I wrote it.
I'm very glad it did.
Oh yeah. That was a great book.
Yeah, it's really good. So you write a lot of really fucked up characters, but they're also somewhat relatable in like certain ways, right? So out of a lot of your villains or characters, who do you consider your like you see yourself like?
Well, so whenever I start to write a villainous character, an antagonist of any kind, what I do is I try to imagine what would have to change about me to make me like that person. So, what decisions would I had to have made? What type of background would I have to have had? Because a lot of, and you'll be surprised how close we are to the worst of the worst, just a few bad decisions, a
Mhm.
few changes to your environment or your upbringing, and there you are. There's a monster. And that's pretty much what I do. And that's probably why the characters are somewhat sympathetic, because by the time I create this backstory to, I don't know, make them real for me, I understand them. So uh, they become sympathetic to me, uh, to a degree. To a degree.
That's like my favorite type of like villain or bad guy, like a circumstantial,
Yes.
like
Mm-hmm.
their upbringing or certain things cause them to be the way that they are, make these certain
Mhm.
decisions.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting to me when I think about how how many crossroads there are in our lives. Like how many times where, hey, if I had made this decision instead of this one, my life could have turned up really fucked up, and I could have wound up being, pretty reprehensible human being. And somehow we go through life narrowly avoiding all of this. I think if you have a certain character, you're going to make those correct decisions anyway. But yeah, some of it's pretty shocking at how close we are, or to just wind up victims. That's the other thing, how close we are to winding up victims. It's,
Yeah.
it's uh, talk about
I
six
agree.
degrees of separation.
I agree. I'm one of those suckers that I'm like, if I ever see a Joe Miles in front of my face, I'll be like, he's not that bad. He likes Latina women. He likes big butts. I'm like, he's not bad. He's misunderstood. But on top of Joe Miles, another character that for some reason I like and I'm conflicted with at the same time because he's pretty bad is Malcolm
Mhm.
from Pure Hate. Like just your
Uh-huh.
description of him, like the vampire-esque, I was like, Wesley Snipes who? Like this guy, Malcolm's great. So those two characters of yours, like I've read a couple of your books, but those two characters specifically have always stood out to me. And I'm just you're like, yeah, because Malcolm was wronged in the beginning. Like, yes, what he
Mhm.
did was really bad, but he also, like, his friend really messed him up. And
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happens when your boy does that to you? You do some pretty shady shit, especially if you're young, like he was. So those are very conflicting characters to me, but I really love both of them very much. You did a
Mhm.
really good job at making me think, like, damn, I could do that. Like, if that was me and I
Mhm.
really snap, I could be me. But
Well, that one in particular has a lot of autobiographical information in there. And that was definitely one where I was like, what if I had gone this way? And yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
Malcolm is a lot closer to me than a lot of my characters.
And I'll be honest with you, when I asked this question, because I thought about this question and I'm like, I hope he caught us as Malcolm because that's how I see you. Specifically, like the
With
stance
platinum
with like
fangs ripping out people's throats.
that's Raph. Like, that's it. I've always thought that. And I'm like, I wonder if I can say that without him taking offense. Because like he's obviously not a vampire, he's not a killer, but he kind of reminds me of Malcolm.
Do we really know that though?
I could have a pair of platinum fangs in the drawer right now.
He's guilty. Or he's innocent. He's innocent. I love it. I love villains. Villains are my favorite.
Me too.
Mhm.
Me too. I'm a huge Darth Vader fan. Like I've got a Darth Vader tattoo. Like I'm real big into villains.
Mhm.
They're just misunderstood half the time. And honestly, they've all been wronged. Anybody can
In some
snap.
way.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing with the bug collector. That was kind of one of the underlying themes is
Yeah.
that hurt people,
Yeah, I was just
and
gonna say
that's
that.
yeah, that's the thing is that most of the worst of us were created, not born that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There are some like true psychopaths are born,
yeah.
sociopaths are created. Uh, and it's interesting because I've done some recent, when I say research, I mean like read an article and watched a YouTube video, but I've done some
That's research.
but I've done some recent research into just the difference between psychopaths and sociopaths, and it's bizarre because look at infants and tell who's going to be a psychopath from the time they're an infant, just by how they respond to stimulus, because the part of their brains that process fear is dulled significantly. So infants, and where they would normally have a fear response, just don't. And it's really interesting that
Wow.
and that's why they become real risk takers and just don't have the same impulse control that the rest of us do. They're like, oh, wonder what she looks like on the inside. And where most of us would think that's an interesting thought or maybe be appalled by it and move on, they go for it. Let's see. Let me get a Ginsu knife and find out.
Well, that is another thing to add to my list of why I don't want kids. It could be a sociopath. Don't want them. The list just keeps growing for me. It's scary.
Yeah, one of your favorite horror movies?
What was that?
What's one of your favorite horror movies? Like anything in particular that you might have inspired you to write a book or anything?
That inspired me? Not really. I will say that this year, Strange Darlings really hit me because that was a movie that I would have written. Like, and it's kind of narcissistic, I guess, that I like the movie because it's something I would have wrote. But you know, but conversely, In a Violent Nature is a movie that I absolutely would never have written, and I hate that movie. It's the most boring shit I ever put on screen, as far as I'm concerned. But although a lot of people really love it, they're wrong.
They're wrong.
I didn't like it. Strange Darling, oh my God, that was so good. Like, I've watched it probably like 10 times because I just enjoyed it. It was more than I thought it was, and nobody talked about it like it deserved.
Yes, I thought it was brilliant, absolutely, and it bothers me that In a Violent Nature is getting so much praise, and Strange Darlings isn't. And In a Violent Nature was just anyway. It's.
I haven't seen any of them, so I'm just kind of.
I haven't seen them either. I need to watch them now to compare.
Gotta watch.
It was In a Violent Nature was a good 20-minute film, dragged out over 90 minutes by adding scenes of someone walking through the forest.
That's what they say.
There's about 40 minutes of just guys walking through the forest.
And they only talk about that one killing scene of the yoga girl,
which was also ridiculous. So I understand the creativity of the scene and how it was a very creative kill. However, the scene relied upon someone standing absolutely still while they were being bent and broken in half, like not attempting to run or fight back or defend themselves in any way. It was just my suspension of disbelief is pretty strong, and it utterly collapsed at that scene.
I need a good laugh, so maybe I'll watch it soon.
Right.
Like this is what they were talking about. Yeah.
So bored. So bored.
You know what movie I just rewatched recently, and it reminds me a lot of the stuff that you would write, Raph, was Tales from the Hood, the anthology. Yeah. I rewatched that because I'm in a movie group, and every Saturday we watch movies and review them. And I had that one, and I rewatched it because I haven't watched it in a long time. And every single story has a very impactful meaning. And I'm like, why? Like, this is a lot what Raph would do, because that's a lot of your work. There's things that are gross and there's things that are utterly insane. But if you look, everything has an underlying message. It's not just gross. Sometimes it's gross for the sake of gross, but there's a lot of meaning towards it, just like that movie. And I was like, huh. I like that.
And that's what I enjoy in films also. I don't as popular as it is, I don't actually enjoy just mindless gore. Whether it's humorous or not, I don't actually enjoy watching movies like that, or frankly, even reading books like that. I get bored if there's not more to it than that. And I know that I've been accused of writing mindless gore. And whenever I hear that accusation, it's always for something. It's always bizarre because it's something that to me is almost um, usually there's stories that to me are almost propaganda. They're so the message is so strong, and when someone doesn't get it and they're like, "Oh, it's just mindless gore," I'm like, "You are an idiot." That's the problem.
Read it again. Try again.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Everything that I've read from you has at least some sort of meaning. Like obviously you do have like your violence, you have your gore, you do have funny moments in there, but there's tone, underlying tones in there. And if people don't understand that, like the Ecstasy of Agony was fantastic. And a lot of those stories were some were political, some had very underlying messages. And I'm like, damn, like it's hard not to pick up on them. That's the thing. Like, so some people that don't pick
I
up
would
on that
think.
stuff, I'm like, are you really reading it? Like, are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Well, thank you. You're one of the ones that get it.
I do. And I try to tell everybody, just read it again. Just turn off your TV in the background and just read it again because you'll get it. Eventually they do, but
Yeah. I think a lot of people, because of my reputation, they come into the book with already having a preconceived idea of what they're going to read. So they're expecting mindless gore. And so that's what they see because that's what that was their prejudgment before they even cracked the spine. So, um, you know, it just tells me that they didn't read it with an open mind or a objective eye.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a book that I've read from you that it was bad at all. Because like your older stuff is just as strong as your newer stuff. Sometimes like some of your older stories are stronger. Like Succulent Prey, I will praise until the day I die. Wow, my power turned off.
Oh, it's like, where'd she go? She disappeared.
What's going on? Well, I'm still here.
Your whole power went off?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, all the lights went out. That's very interesting. But my Wi-Fi's on.
Oh, wow.
I live in a house. I live down.
An air raid siren coming pretty soon.
Oh no.
Hey, you know what? Since you guys can't see me, give me a second because I don't know what's happening. I'm so sorry.
It's
well, since we can't see you, you might as well just get completely naked.
Run around the house.
It's not like we would know or anything.
Actually, for a second, I thought you were about to whip your top off. I'm like, hey, it's a party. Go for it.
Ay, kids. My son was literally holding up like a notepad trying to say something because he didn't want to talk. Now I have my glasses on. I was like, I can't read that.
My dog hears people and wants to be petted. She's like, oh, there's other people. Are they going to pet me too? Do y'all believe in ghosts?
Yes.
I do not.
You do not.
And I do not. And I am not a fan of ghost stories either. Yeah. Like I cannot read ghost stories for the most part because it's, first of all, there's the suspension of disbelief thing. Like, why would a ghost rattle doors and windows and everything? Like, why would it do all this stuff? Why is it trying to be spooky? Like, what is the point of that? Like, if it's going to kill, and it takes like, it's haunting you for a week before it finally tries to kill you. Why doesn't it just like try to kill you right off the bat? I'll tell you the
just
one.
An asshole. He just likes to fuck with you.
So instead, they like move chairs and shut doors and open windows. I'm like, that's so fucking stupid. It just drives me crazy. I can't do it. The one movie that actually did have a scary ghost was 13 Ghosts. I don't know if you've
Mm,
seen that one.
yes.
Yeah, it's about 13 Ghosts. That was like, I'm like, finally, that's what a scary ghost looks like. There's an actual mortal and physical threat rather than
Right.
just like, ooh, this is so spooky. Like, I hate that. You know, I hate that. It bores
You
me to
say that
tears.
while you got a ghost on you.
I know. I know. But this is a friendly ghost.
Is a
Apparently from the LGBTQ community. So, oh. So yeah, this is my buddy. And see, that's the thing. Like most ghosts and most stories turn out to be harmless anyway. So I would wind up like, it's more like a friend, a friend that I can't see. It's I don't know.
It just annoys you from time to time.
Yes, exactly.
Flicking your lights when you're trying to do something. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
That would suck for someone that has OCD.
Just moving things around, little things.
They would have a mental
although,
breakdown.
although one of the first horror novels I ever read, I was 10 years old, which is crazy, more permissive time. But it was about a woman who was haunted by a ghost that continually raped her. It was called the Entity. They actually made a movie based on it.
Huh.
But yeah, I read that book when I was 10. and,
Well, okay then.
yeah.
I read
Now that,
Lost Souls when I was like 14.
you read what?
Lost Souls when I was like 14.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Poppy's writing again.
That's my favorite book. That's Billy is my favorite author. Like, to me, there's nobody better. Like,
Mm-hmm. The whole reason why I started writing again was because of Exquisite Corpse.
I'll have to read
I
that.
I had given up on the horror genre. I hadn't read horror in like 10 years. And I stumbled into a bookstore, and on their staff recommendations, they had Exquisite Corpse. And I picked it up, I read it, and I was just blown away because prior to that, I think the last thing I read was a Stephen King novel, which is, I love Stephen King. I mean, it's no knock to him, but I was kind of getting tired of the small town horror. Like I wanted brutal, vicious, nasty stuff. And so I started reading thrillers and psychological thrillers and true crime and all that, where you just had the most horrific serial killers tearing people apart. And then I stumbled across Exquisite Corpse, which is beautifully written. It's actually sexy, and
Yes.
it's the most horrific, disgusting, violent stuff you've ever read. Yeah, there you go.
I got a hardcover. I've got
Mm-hmm.
One Blood, Wormwood,
Very nice.
Exquisite Corpse, and then Carrietta got me a signed copy of this.
That's awesome.
Ooh, that's
Wow.
very pretty.
That's
I'm
beautiful.
a huge fan. You like my Facebook comment one day, and I almost cried. Like, I was just like, I was like, you don't understand my husband. You don't understand. I love him like he's my favorite.
So I actually met Billy in 2003. So back in the early days of the interwebs, it was a more lawless place, and I was working on my first collection, which I won't talk about because, as far as I'm concerned, it does not exist, never happened. But um, I I just emailed Poppy and said, "Hey, would you read my book and give it a blurb?" and he didn't know me from Adam back then, but read it and then gave me a blurb. And then probably a year or two later, I was at SpookyCon, which it was a one-time only con. It happened. There used to be a website called Gothic.net, and it was one of the few websites that played pro rates for stories, and so it was one of those that you really wanted to get into because they paid pro rates. Well, I had just gotten a story published with Gothic.net, and then I heard that they were going to do their first convention. So I went to San Francisco for the convention, and I remember walking toward it was the Chinatown Hilton or whatever, and on the steps there was Poppy Z Bright standing on the steps. I was like, "Oh my God, that's Poppy!" And
Wow.
he turned to me and he says, "Wrath," and I was out, hold up, and I was like,
Oh,
"Oh my God."
Oh.
Poppy Z Bright not only recognized me, but is like calling me in for a hug. I'm like, this is surreal, this moment. You know? And I wonder if they still have this picture. There's a, we were they used to have suite parties back then. So you had your main convention, and then at night, uh, people would throw parties in their rooms. And those parties were usually sponsored by publishers. Um, and I want to say this was Borderland Books because they usually had, Borderland always had the best in-room parties. So I'm in there and Poppy's there, and I had this beaver puppet. I was playing with this beaver puppet, and I was like, "Oh, let me see the puppet," and I put it, and Poppy Poppy turned to everyone and says, "Look, Ralph's got his hand in my beaver." It was like, again, it's just a surreal moment because just a few years prior, I just picked them up off of shelf, and that really sparked my whole career. Honestly, reading that book, and then there I was with my hand in their beaver.
Well, that escalated.
yeah.
That's
It's nice to
incredible.
see you guys are just like us when you meet your favorite authors. It's nice.
Yeah,
It's refreshing.
Right.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know
That
what
was.
I'm I plan on going to DreadCon, which is the Canadian author con here. And I don't really know because Canadian authors, they're great. We have some great authors here, but they're not usually showcased a lot because they're in America, there's a hell of a lot more, right? You guys, big names there. So I'm trying to kind of help them out because anytime somebody says, "Who's your favorite Canadian author?" They're like, Duncan Ralph. And I'm like, there's more than that. I like Duncan, but there's more than Duncan, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of excited because ours is in September. So I'm going to go with a couple of friends for the first time. So it's going to be fun to see some people because there are names that I know. So I won't be fangirling too hard, but I'm excited. So
That's
hopefully
good.
next year I can go to the States. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you haven't been to AuthorCon or KillerCon. If your first trip has to be to KillerCon.
I'd like to. Everything's bigger in Texas, and I really want to go.
We'll
like
have to go together, Veronica, because I've never been to a con either.
And that's what I've
So,
tried to do. I want to go with like a bunch of girls, because a lot of us, like even Kylie, like she lives in the States, she hasn't gone to a con. There's a lot of us that haven't. So it's like if we all go together, it'll maybe be a little bit less terrifying. We can fangirl together instead of alone. Because it's fun. I like to hear about the gross out. Like we do get FOMO, obviously, because we all want to be there, but it is nice to see authors interacting with readers and it's nice. It's
Okay.
you guys don't
Well,
always shit, but it's nice to get a hug.
well, KillerCon's a little different than a lot of the other conventions like AuthorCon or StokerCon that are really huge. We have one track of programming, so you're not choosing between a reading and a panel and another reading and some other event. Everyone kind of goes to the same stuff. We all eat together. So you could be sitting next to your favorite author at dinner or breakfast or whatever. And that's everyone is encouraged to mingle. Like if there's an author who's like, I want to be on the other side of the table and not, talk to my fans or anything, they're not invited. We want the interaction. So it's more like a family reunion. Uh, that's the feel of it. It's more like a family reunion than a convention. It's limited to 200 people. Usually it's around closer to 125, somewhere around there. And we just act the fool. we,
I love
we
it.
do. It's
wow, yeah.
all the parties, the alcohol is free. So it gets pretty loose at night. and,
I'm
And then
in.
we,
Right. Sign me up right now.
Yeah.
and we just have like the crazy contests, like the roast out contest, and we have the creative fiction contest where we give you a bunch of words and you have to write a story and then read it in front of everyone using the words that we give you. And then the Wings of Pain challenge, where you have to answer trivia questions while your mouth is on fire and you feel like you're going to die.
Oh,
And I'm shocked every year when people
Good.
sign up for that.
It's getting bigger and bigger every year. It
Yeah.
is fun. I'm hoping one day, hopefully next year, we'll see. Kylie, we'll get in cahoots and we'll go.
yeah, we have
We'll
to.
make it fun.
Yeah, our first times could be with the whole group. That would be nice.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of books to bring to sign, specifically by you, sir. Like, I have a stack of books that I would love signed.
I'd be happy to.
I love it. I only have, it's nice because those are my prized possessions, are my signed books. I don't have a lot, but they're very special to me. Now I know what a collector feels like when they have, like, they keep things in cases, they keep them in books. I get it now. They're prized possessions.
Yeah.
Yep. So you're going to Killer Pride, right?
Yes, I will be a killer.
Is that going to be your next event that you're going to be signing and stuff at?
No, KillerCon will be the next one.
Right.
Actually, technically MoCon, which is a convention at Maurice Broadus's house in Indianapolis. And yeah, that's always a fun one. I say it's at his house. It's usually the first time he threw it, the first few times, it was in a church, and then it ends at his house. And it's just the most bizarre little convention. It's another one that's more like a family reunion. And the idea of me being in a church was hilarious to me. So,
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
And one year we actually did a debate where it was me debating, I think it was his pastor or whatever at the time. And that was fun. It was really like having a gunfight with an unarmed man. But anyway, it was,
Oh man.
but I love it. It's fun.
So I have a question. You are very open about being in the BDSM world. You have books that talk about it. Are you coming out with more books that are around that, surrounding BDSM specifically?
And why do you ask, young lady?
Just asking. We're all family here.
Is there something you need to get off your chest right now?
Because you do sprinkle, like, you do have sex in your books, but it's not, it's good, but there's not really, 400 Days of Oppression was really based around that, but it was different in a way. But I know you do have a dark romance book that I haven't read yet.
Yes, Fight for Me. And that has a lot of kink in it. What else? And Master of Pain, with the book I wrote with Christopher Ruffty, is pretty much like, that's my kink book.
So good.
And when the sequel to Emily comes out, to the sequel to Rabbit Hunt, which is called Emily, when that comes out, you'll see there's a lot of kink in that one.
Ooh, good.
Non-consensual shit, but lots
That's okay.
of
That's fine.
And the book that I'm writing with Christopher Ruffty, not with Christopher, with Chris Triana, is also, so that one is about I don't even know how much I'm allowed to say, but fuck it. That one is about a guy who has a feeder kink where he likes to feed women, and he meets this woman who he wants they fall in love, and he wants her to be the largest woman on the planet. And the goal is to get her over 1,000 pounds. And there's more to it than that, but I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, so it's not your typical whips and chains kink, but there's a lot of like food porn type stuff in it. It's pretty twisted.
I appreciate every kink. I can get down with the food kink. I'm okay with that. A little bit of melted cheese is not, it won't hurt anybody. We're good there.
What about pig feet? What about pickled pig's feet?
It's always good to experiment.
Hey, you got to try everything once, right?
Yeah, twice too if it's fun.
You're right.
No, it's fun because I know a lot of people. I know Christopher Triana is really good at that. Like his Toxic Love is one of my favorites because of the splat. I call it a splatter smut book, like straight up vile and sexy in its own way. So I like those kind of books because not everybody can execute them well. And
Yeah.
Christopher Triana does it well. You do it well. And there's a couple others that do, but it's hard.
Yeah, that's why the collaboration was so natural. It was funny because at the writers' retreat, Shane and Aaron Beauregard are working on Benjamin, and they're doing all this complex plotting and all having these real deep conversations. And meanwhile, there's me and Chris, and I'm like, how do you feel about him fucking his mom with a with a, I don't know, with a whatever? And he's like, oh, that sounds cool, and that's our plotting. They're like, all right, cool.
They're probably looking at you guys like, what the hell? That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's nice to see that like you guys get along and all you guys work well together. It's nice to see because obviously not everybody's gonna get along, but to have you guys, which are like pretty much at the top. You guys are like the grandfathers of this community. And it's nice to see that it's not all bullshit, that, you guys genuinely care about each other. You like working together. It flows naturally and it's not fake. It's genuine. So it's nice to see that because that's also relatable, It means you guys are good people. You get along and yeah.
Some of my oldest friends are people I met at conventions in the early 2000s, like Brian Keene and Monica O'Rourke, even Maurice Broaddus, people I met in like 2000, 2001 at writers' conventions, and we've been friends ever since. Even Shane, how I met Shane is a little different. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but when I first moved to Austin, I got a message from Shane. He found out that I was teaching Muay Thai at a martial arts studio in South Austin, and he said, "Hey, I heard you were teaching. I'm expecting my first child, and I want to be able to protect them, and all this." And he gave me all this bullshit, and so so I was like, "Sure, come and I'll train you." And he trained with me for a couple of months, and every night after training, he would talk to me about horror novels and horror writing. And I'd pick my brain about, how'd you get involved? How'd you do this? How do you do that? How would you write this? How would you write that? And then one day I was like, you're not here for martial arts, are you? You're here for the writing. I was like, you don't have to keep getting your ass kicked every day. We can just talk about writing.
He's so funny. You and him and Lucas have one of my favorite friendships like throughout this community. You guys mesh well together, and I'm pretty sure I think it was Killer Con last year. Both Shane and Lucas couldn't go. So they did like a live for all of us who didn't go, and you were talked about like pretty much throughout the whole thing. Like it was nice because you can definitely see the genuine side of your friendship. You guys aren't just these people that are working together doing collab. No, there's genuine friendship there, and they're both really fun people. Like you guys are very different, but we're the same.
Very different. We're all very different. Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun.
it's hilarious when we hang out because we are so different. Like we love, I think Shane and I both love freaking Lucas out. And that's part of the basis of our friendship is freaking out Lucas. And I'll
It's
tell you what,
perfect.
one of the best parts of the Wings of Pain challenge is convincing Lucas to do it because he has no tolerance for heat, but he keeps doing it. Like he's usually
Sure.
out in like the first round, but it's his facial expressions are just priceless. Like he's every ounce of pain that he's experiences shows up on his face, and it's just divine.
I love it. I want to message him and I'd be like, how's your heat tolerance, sir?
Lucas he's a great guy. I recently read Haunted Hearts. Oh, I loved that so much.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little
He
mad.
he has really good range. Like he can write you an extreme book like Gods of the Dark Web, and then he goes like Haunted Hearts, which is what would that be classified as?
It's almost a young adult novel, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Like there's certain things that are kind of a little bit like extremish, but not enough. Like it's a really good story, but I do
Mhm.
enjoy his range. Like it's different. And not a lot of people do that. But he's
Yeah,
good at
yeah.
it.
Even Barnyard to Hell versus like something like Saint Sadist. They're
Mhm.
just very, very different books.
Yep. Yep.
And he's been writing for a while too, right?
Yes, yes, he has.
Yeah.
I'm not sure quite how long, but he's been at it for a while.
He actually
So
read
you're
two of my books, and I was like, "Oh God, like you read my books!" Like I
Mm.
fangirl. But he's the sweetest person, and like I've got this thing now where like every Friday I do like a check in with like a handful of people, and he's one of those people, and I'm just like, "How's your
Oh,
week?
very
Did
cool.
you get writing done?" Like just little things like that to like try to uplift each other and just check on each other because I'm bad about checking on people, so I try to make it a point to check on certain ones. I'm like, okay, this is the day that I check on you every day this week. Even if I don't talk to you, even if I do, every day I'm checking on you this day.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we have a group text, me, Shane, and Lucas, and we text each other every day. Like, what's your word count today? What are what are you working on? What did you do? Just to keep, we're kind of accountability partners to keep each other on track. Even
He's a
even with when we're exercise, like that's a new thing, but we've even started doing that with exercise and diet and stuff. Like Shane and I were both fasting at the same time. We were both doing, well, I was doing a 72-hour fast. He was trying to do a like 86-hour fast or something.
oh Shane.
Yeah, because he's an extremist.
No Shane.
But I think he gave up at 80 hours. But yeah, he's a little nutty.
Mm-mm.
I took a picture with Shane at Con and I added Lucas into it because he wasn't there.
I love that. It's so funny. Shane's a really funny dude too. You guys are all funny in your own ways. I miss the videos that you used to post last year when like the three of you were working on your books that are out now. Because it
Yeah.
was just you guys are just funny in general. Where's Lucas? Or no, that was when Shane was missing. Where's
Yeah,
Shane?
yeah. Yeah, we need to do that again. I've been so busy this year, and Shane's been busy, and Lucas is like we're all really doing our best to get more material out there, and whether it's our writing or even just social media stuff, we're doing our best to really push our writing and push our careers forward. So this year has just been busy. We're running around doing all this promotional stuff. When we're not promoting stuff, we're writing or going to a convention or something else. So it's been a little bit more difficult to connect this year.
On
But
top of like your regular jobs, family, like this
Yeah.
is you guys live busy. I don't know how you guys do it, to be honest with you. I'm glad you guys do, but I can imagine it's like stressful at times.
Yes, yes, it is. But it's what we love, and
Mhm.
the opportunity to actually make money at it and have a career based on something you love. I mean, you're going to find time.
Yeah.
Either that or it's work for some idiot who doesn't appreciate you and make them rich. The opportunity to actually make your passion your vocation is huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm going to be wrapping this up. Is there anything y'all want to get out to say to him or ask him or?
You're great. Don't ever stop writing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any more work with Monica that we can expect in the future?
I would love to. We have a piece that we've been working on for some time. Her writing has slowed down, so I don't. Whenever she's ready, she'll write her part. But it could be a few years.
It's worth the wait because, yeah, Poisoning Arrows did something appear to me, and I'm like, I need more Monica for sure because it's
Monica is
great.
brilliant. Monica's brilliant. Yeah. I love her to death. And that's another one. I've known Monica for almost 25 years now.
That's awesome.
Those are the good friendships that you keep for sure, that are probably for a lifetime, which is great.
Yeah. I can't
wait for that book. I can't wait.
I was just telling a story about Monica after my first marriage ended, and I was at a convention. No, I can't tell that story, but I was being naughty at a convention.
You?
Naughty? No way. Could never be wrath. No way.
And you got the for like right behind your face.
Right? They're not naughty at all. Thank you for talking with us. I really enjoy it. You are definitely one of the very top for, I don't want to speak for Kylie, but both Kylie and I are at one of the very top authors for sure.
I consider him one of the OGs, so
yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
List. Oh yeah.
You and Ed Lee run this shit. Let me tell you. You guys are both at the very top. Yep. Yeah, we're not worthy. We really aren't.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much for coming on to the show.
Of course.
It's actually great. Awesome. We actually had fun. We're all just like hanging out and shit. Like, hey, let's hang out another time. Fuck it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I definitely want to have a lot of authors and readers on here because I feel like sometimes this is the only way the readers are going to be able to connect to you because not everybody goes to cons, not everybody can. And this is just shoot the shit with your favorite authors.
But if you can, the Killer Con.
We will. And thank you, Asher, for doing this because you give us a space to just be more connected with them. So thank you for doing all this.
Yeah, this was really great. I loved it. Such a great vibes.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Well, y'all have a great night. And thank y'all again.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Good night.